to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like and hit the share. It would be much appreciated, as well as YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Like I said, it'd be much appreciated. So today is a great day to be an NFL fan, because not only is the franchise tag over with, but multiple moves have already been made in the world of the National Football League, one of them being Aaron Rodgers. The news that we've been waiting for quite some time has actually already happened. It happened this morning. I'm pumped about it. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys as well. Russell Wilson, see you later, Seattle. He's on his way to Denver. We'll talk about that later in the show, because that is honestly some big time news here around the NFL. And also, like I said, there's multiple people that have been franchise tagged, 8 to be exact, or at least that's what I have seen and heard of. The 8 people have been franchise tagged. That means, obviously a lot of free agents are about to hit the market, and one of them being on the New England Patriots. We'll talk about him as well later in the show. So if you don't already know, obviously we are in a new location. We got a new studio. Not really new. Okay, it's another room. It's a better room. So we don't have to do this, locked away in the old other room. Okay, so this is a new little thing for me. I'm pumped about it. I'm excited. Never have to set this shit up again. It'll be set up every single time. So it saves me a little bit more time. Saves me a little bit more effort of having to put notes together, having to put things together, topics together, so we can talk about the NFL. And here we are today to talk about, well, a lot of fucking news, folks. A lot of news. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, obviously, as we all woke up this morning, or at least most of us, the first piece of news that hit our social media accounts via Twitter, Instagram, and whatever else you fucking use out there, Facebook and whatnot. It was reported first by Pat McAfee that Aaron Rodgers is going to return to the Green Bay Packers, and I hope all of you guys are excited about that. Being an NFC North fan, not so much, but I've learned to grow, learned to love, not really love, but I've learned to, soak in Aaron Rodgers as who he is as a human being, what he is, or his thought process of going into all of this. And people thought he was an asshole and all this nonsense. He's not. Okay, seeing he's selfish. Well, he has to be. Okay, this is a business. This is not, it's a team sport. Okay, but it's also his life, his livelihood that he's fighting for. There was rumors before last season, right, that he was going to retire, or he wanted out of the Packers organization. He goes down to Hawaii, kind of ignoring everything. He's late for training camp. People really don't know what's going on. All we knew at that point in time was him and Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, were, they didn't get along. Okay, they really didn't see eye to eye. Aaron Rodgers was, never involved in any of the business decisions that the Packers organization was making, and that was right there a red flag. Hey, I'm the best, or one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. I deserve a little bit of say in what is kind of going on in our organization. Doesn't mean I get the final decision. I just want to let you know what I think would help our team to potentially go make a playoff run, go make a Super Bowl run. And obviously the Green Bay Packers probably thought, well, why? We just went to back-to-back NFC Championship games. What else do you want us to do? Do you want us just to hand you the roster and you say yes or no to these people? So I get their side of the things, but at the same time, you want the leader of your team, the franchise player of your team, the face of your team, to help you out with some of those decisions. When we get to this season, okay, he's back with the Green Bay Packers. Relationship still isn't 100% between Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers. They're still it's up in the air or whatever. They're having discussions behind closed doors of what is going on, how they're going to move forward and make this relationship a better one. The season keeps going. They end the regular season with a 13-4 regular season record. They get the number 1 seed in the NFC division. And then they lose to the San Francisco 49ers. And after that game, a lot of people were wondering, what is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? That has been the story for the past month and a half, 2 months at this point. What is he going to do? Is he going to retire? Is he going to stay a Green Bay Packer? Is he going to request a trade to get the hell out of town because Green Bay was $40-some million over the cap space, still needed to pay Devontae Adams, Zadarius Smith, Randall Cobb potentially, and others as well? What is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Nobody knew. Nobody had a clue. He drug it on, obviously, because why wouldn't you? You want to make the best decision for you, not for the organization, for you. Okay, so all those people that think he's selfish, in my opinion, he should be. This is his life. This is his livelihood. He has to make a decision in which is best for him, not for fans, not for an organization, for himself. And I'll say that about every single aspect of life. What is best for you, that's how you make your decision. What's best for you, not what's best for your group of buddies, not what's best for, the job you work at, nothing. Yourself matters first, and that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers did here. He wanted to sit on it, he wanted to sleep on it, and he wanted to make the right decision, and he has, hopefully, he has in staying with the Green Bay Packers. Now, apparently this deal is worth, it's a 4-year deal, about $200 million. Okay, so he gets $50 million per year, and that was the projected kind of salary that he would end up getting. A couple months or a couple weeks ago, I believe we talked about it, where he wanted to be, or he was demanding to be, the highest paid NFL player. Listen, he wasn't demanding anything. Okay, he knew what the Packers cap space looked like, and if they were capable of making that work, they were going to hit on a number, and they were going to make it work. If not, he was out of town. They have a plan in place, or had a plan in place, to knock down some of the salary cap. Franchise tag, which has already been done. Devontae Adams, by the way, he will be getting about $20.1 million guaranteed, I believe. So, but, he wanted $50 million a year, and that's exactly what he got for 4 years. Now, out of that $200 million, $153 million of that is guaranteed. So what does this mean for Jordan Love? A lot of people are thinking he might get traded, and honestly, it's probably not a bad option. And I say that because he's already been in the Packers organization for 2 years. The growth hasn't been there. The Packers still don't see him as a legit starter in the National Football League. They don't want to take a risk and have him be their starting quarterback. And I guarantee you, if Aaron Rodgers does not come out today and say, or if he comes out today and say, I have requested a trade from the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to be out or I retire, the Green Bay Packers wouldn't roll with Jordan Love. Because I don't think they trust him 100% just yet. They have to see a little bit more. And obviously, you're not going to see much when Aaron Rodgers is your starting quarterback and he's playing on the field and he has back-to-back MVPs, 3 seasons in which he went 13-3, back-to-back seasons, and then last year he went 13-4, back-to-back NFC Championship games. Should have had an NFC Championship game potential Super Bowl this year. Just wasn't the case, didn't work out that way. But you're not going to see the playing field when you have a top 3 quarterback in the NFL on your roster. It's just not going to happen. So what does this mean for obviously for Jordan Love? Trade him. Get him out of town. There's quarterbacks in this draft class. When I was watching the scouting combine, I had the utmost faith in a lot of these guys that were at the combine. Okay, people were like, oh, this is not a quarterback-heavy draft class. I wouldn't take a risk on a lot of these guys. They're not NFL ready. From what I've seen, there's more than what was expected that might be NFL ready. Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. You just got to pick the right one at the right time and have him be in the right organization at the right time. Give Jordan Love a chance. I think what ultimately might happen is the Green Bay Packers are probably going to stick with Jordan Love as their backup quarterback to see potentially if Aaron Rodgers gets injured. Hey, let's put Jordan Love in there. Let's see what else he has. See what else is in the tank. See if he can give us just a little bit more than he has in previous years. And I think that might be the case. I think they're going to roll with him. But, I mean, if the Green Bay Packers were to trade him, there probably isn't going to be that much that they could get in return. Probably a 4th round, 5th round pick, maybe 6th round pick. I mean, you're not probably going to get a 4th rounder, but a 5th round, 6th round pick is probably in the realm of possibility for Jordan Love. But I think the Packers are going to roll with him as their backup so he can learn from Aaron Rodgers. And once Aaron's done and over with on this contract, this 4-year contract, who knows if he decides to hang it up at that point. If he does, Jordan Love should be more than ready to become the franchise quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. But Aaron Rodgers is back with the pack, and I'm excited about it. Other quarterbacks we were waiting on, or there was teams that are really, quarterback needy at this point. We have the Steelers. They need a quarterback. The Saints are still trying to figure out their quarterback position. They have Taysom Hill, but Jameis Winston's obviously a free agent. We'll see what happens with him. There's the Houston Texans, the Denver Broncos, and multiple teams around the league. Carolina is one of them as well that want a quarterback, that need a quarterback that can lead their franchise in the right direction. Well, with the news, obviously, of Aaron Rodgers signing that 4-year, $200 million contract extension with the Green Bay Packers, that shut out all options for Aaron Rodgers to go to the Steelers, to the Titans, and to the Denver Broncos, in which they all said, oh, Aaron Rodgers is completely torn about what he wants to do. No, he wasn't. Okay, whatever that was, whatever those sources were, he was not. I guarantee you, he was not torn one bit. He was waiting for what was going to be said from the Green Bay side of things to make his final decision. They sat down, they had a meeting. He was not torn. It was always Green Bay first, not Green Bay second, third, or fourth. It was Green Bay first. If they can't get a deal done, I'm out of town. He was not torn on what decision he wanted to make, folks. Just make that, put that in your mind for a second. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but that is not the case. Okay, it was always Green Bay first. Always. So with Denver, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee kind of being out of the mix right, well, one of those teams made a move. A big, massive move. That being the Denver Broncos, who traded, well, a 4th round pick, or they traded, a 1st round pick, which is of this year's draft, which they got the number 9th pick. They traded a 2022 2nd round pick, which is at number 40. They traded a 2023 1st and 2nd round pick. And they also traded a 2022 5th round pick for the Seattle Seahawks 2022 4th round pick and quarterback Russell Wilson, right? Pumped about it. Congratulations to Russell Wilson going to a new home. Now, obviously, they didn't just trade all those picks away. They traded Drew Lock to get Russell. They also traded Noah Fant to get Russell, who's their tight end. And they also traded defensive lineman Shelby Harris to get Russell Wilson and that 4th round pick, folks. Denver made a splash. We all knew they would. They needed a quarterback now. They wanted to win now. Their defense doesn't need much help. This is per at my sports update from Ari Mira. He said, not to mention the hashtag Broncos defense has building blocks as well. Patrick Surtain, who is their cornerback, is 21 years old. Justin Simmons, who I believe is their safety, is 28 years old. Bradley Chubb, who is a linebacker, is 25. And there's obviously plenty more. This team just really needed a quarterback, and they got a big one. Expect the aggressiveness to continue. Russell Wilson now pairs with Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler over there in the Denver Broncos organization, and that offense should be explosive. It's going to be fun to watch. Now, Russell Wilson is in the same division. He moved from the NFC West to the AFC West, but he's in the same division as Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Justin Herbert. That division is going to be electrifying. It's going to be tough once again, yet again, like it always is, especially the past couple of years, past 5 years at least. It's been a division where you don't know what is going to happen. It's a bunch of hard-nosed teams that will just fight to the end. Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos, and look, I'm kind of surprised, honestly, because Pete Carroll is in his 70s, obviously. He's getting up there in age. So the real question was, what is going to happen? Like, he's not going to want to rebuild. He's not going to want to rebuild the Seattle Seahawks at such an old age, even though he seems like he's 30-some years old. I mean, the dude just has a motor that just keeps running. I don't know how that is possible, but he's not going to want to rebuild. He's not going to want to go out with a young quarterback and try to make things work. He's just not going to want to do that. They're going to stick with Russell Wilson. That's what it sounded like. That's what it seemed like. Let's get pieces in here for Russell to have success in the NFC West division against the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. Let's give everything we can to him. Well, they didn't do enough. But Seattle in return got their tight end. Will Dissly, obviously, he's okay. He's a good NFL player, but he's not the greatest. So Noah Fant, I think, is exceptionally better than Will Dissly for the Seattle Seahawks. And now they get Drew Lock. They get a young quarterback who, obviously I think the Broncos gave up way too soon on. I think he has a lot of poise left in him. I think he's really, he has a high motor. He's ready to rock and roll. He can play some good football. Now it's just time for the Seattle Seahawks to kind of get him, moving in the right direction. I think we're going to ultimately see that play out. Hopefully this next season. We'll see, but obviously, with all these moves being made, franchise tags had to be placed, and the franchise tag deadline happened today as well, where, at 3 p.m. Central Time, every team had to have, or not every team, if you were going to place a franchise tag on a player, you needed to do it by 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And 8 players got the franchise tag. Devontae Adams is obviously one of them who got paid $20.1 million, which is fully guaranteed for 1 season. So he's back in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and I cannot wait because, let me tell you, I think they might be on a roll to go get a Super Bowl next season. That's a very real possibility, and I'm sorry to those Vikings fans out there. Look, I'm one of them, okay? We might be screwed for the next 4 years. It's just how the cookie crumbles, obviously. So we got to realize that now, because we just can't go out and expect to win every fucking game and then go to the playoffs, win every goddamn game, and then go to the fucking Super Bowl and try to win that. We just can't expect that. Can never expect that, because we get let down way too often. And it's the Minnesota. It's basically every single Minnesota professional sports leagues. That's their mantra. Hey, let's hype it up. Let's get these guys excited about the season, and then let's crash it down. All right, let's fucking crash it in the goddamn hill. Nothing's gonna happen. It's just bam, done. Season's over. Sorry about it. We got next year. Let's hype it up again. That's what Minnesota does. But obviously, we talked about Devontae Adams getting his franchise tag, which was a must. We also talked about tight end David Njoku for the Cleveland Browns getting franchise tagged. Cowboys have franchise tagged tight end Dalton Schultz. That was a big move, obviously one that was needed to save some cap space, who the Dallas Cowboys also reconstructed Dak Prescott's contract, as well as Zach Martin's contract, and they saved about $22 million in cap space, so that was a huge move by the Cowboys. The Chiefs, we talked about them franchise tagging offensive tackle Orlando Brown. The Jaguars franchise tagged offensive tackle Cam Robinson, which was a must-needed position there. He's one of the young, really good offensive linemen that a lot of teams around the NFL would want on their roster, and I'm glad Jacksonville said, hey, listen, we need this guy on our team, on our roster to help protect Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and give us a better chance to win. And obviously, I think a lot of that had to do with Doug Peterson probably, kind of putting the nail in the coffin on that one. We also talked about the Bengals. Franchise tagging safety Jesse Bates. We all knew that was coming, at least I did, because they need offensive line help. They're not going to go franchise tag one of their offensive linemen that were garbage all year, okay? But there's others as well. The Dolphins have, they franchise tagged tight end Mike Gesicki. And this is a huge, huge move by the Denver Broncos. Or not by them, by the Miami Dolphins. Because I've always been high on Mike Gesicki. I've said in the past, he's a very, very good tight end. Top 5, if I had to guess. Top 10 for sure in the NFL. This guy is a really good piece of the Miami Dolphins, and he's probably their top receiver. Actually, he is their top receiver. They had to franchise tag him because obviously he's going to be worth a lot of money, and the Dolphins don't really know what they have at this point in time. They really don't know what their roster kind of looks like. I mean, they do, but they don't. They don't know what they're going to get next season. Are we going to have a good year? Are we going to have a bad year? We got a new head coach, Mike McDaniel. We're rolling with Tua Tagovailoa. We got Jalen Waddell, our young receiver who's going into his second year this upcoming year. Okay, we have certain pieces that are going to be perfect. But I think we're a little, over the cap. Let's franchise tag one of our best, if not our best receiver, Mike Gesicki. Okay, because he's not just a tight end. Mike Gesicki considers himself more of a wide receiver than a tight end. And here's the reason. So the snaps by alignment in 2021 for him, so basically where he lined up every single snap he took last season, this is where he lined up. He had 24 snaps in the backfield, 140 at tight end, 218 out wide, so the wide by the closer to the sideline, and he had 402 in the slot. This man's a receiver, folks. He's fast. He's very, very quick and nimble on his feet. Okay, he can get the offense moving and grooving. Get into the end zone. Get those yards. Chip away, and then bam, we hit you. Okay, bam. That's what's going to happen there. And they had to franchise tag him. They didn't really have a choice. They don't really have too many other guys that they'd be like, oh yeah, we want him really, really bad, but we want to wait to see what our money problem is or what our money kind of looks like, our revenue kind of looks like for next season or after next season. So he's going to be getting about $10.9 million, just the same as David Njoku, because that is the tight end average of a veteran. Okay? Every time somebody gets franchise tag, you get the veteran minimum at that position. Wide receiver, well, Devontae Adams is $20.1 million. The tight ends are obviously $10.9 million. But there was another person who got tagged today. They were supposed to get a long-term deal done, or they were going to try to get a long-term deal done before the 3 p.m. Central Time franchise tag deadline, and it just didn't work out. They couldn't come to a number. They couldn't come to an agreement. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have officially franchise tagged Chris Godwin. This is huge. Big, big news, because a lot of people were thinking, oh, he might be on the move. He might go to Philadelphia. He might go to Green Bay if the whole Rodgers and Davante Adams deal didn't work out. He might go to fucking Pittsburgh. He might go to Denver. He could go literally anywhere you can imagine. He might go to New England. And that just wasn't the case. Just wasn't the case. The Buccaneers know what they want, and they want Chris Godwin on their team because he's been a cornerstone part of their offense. He's been literally one of the better receivers, number 2 receiver on that team. He's made it so far. I mean, he won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and all the other players on that team. He's a Buccaneer. and that's where he's going to stay as a Buccaneer. Now, I'm really unsure of why he only is getting $19.1 million for the franchise tag when Davante is getting $20.1, because obviously the franchise tag is a set amount at that position, so kind of I'm not really sure how that all works out. Maybe saves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just a little bit more cash. But like I said, they were trying to work out a long-term deal. They couldn't get it done before the 3 p.m. Central Time franchise tag deadline, so they had to franchise tag him. They just had to. And take in mind, about 13 of their starters, offense and defense, okay, there's 22 starters total, 13 of them were going to become unrestricted free agents. And only one of them they could franchise tag. And they chose Chris Godwin, and I think they chose correctly. Because obviously, they're going to figure out who to sign and when to sign them. So with all of these 8 being franchise tag, that being Davante Adams, Chris Godwin, Mike Gesicki, David Njoku, Dalton Schultz, Orlando Brown Jr., Cam Robinson, and Jesse Bates, at Tom Pelissero says, those teams now have until July 15th to work out long-term deals. So Chris Godwin can still get his long-term deal. Davante Adams can still get a long-term deal, even though I'm sure it probably won't happen, and they'll probably wait till next season to see what's actually going to happen. And all of those tags are not exclusive, meaning another team could sign the player to an offer sheet, but would give up 2 first-round picks if the prior team doesn't match. So basically, anybody can go grab these guys. Okay? But you'd have to give up 2 first-rounders if the prior team, the team before you, didn't match what you were going to give. I think that's how it's said. So, got till July 15th to get these long-term deals out. Chris Godwin's probably going to be one of them if I had to guess. If they come to an agreement on a number, I think that'll be happening. But, hey, look, the franchise tag deadline's over. Now we're going to really start to see trades happening, more signings happening. Who are we getting and when are we getting them? That is going to happen in the next couple weeks, obviously leading up till the draft, which is in April. Now, the Patriots decided to not use their franchise tag. And the talk of the time, okay, the talk of the NFL was that the New England Patriots were going to place their franchise tag on superstar cornerback J.C. Jackson. We talked about him. The man is an absolute monster. I think 21 picks in 4 years. He's a stud. What are we going to do with J.C. Jackson? Well, if anybody knows Bill Belichick, you know one thing. He ain't going to pay you if he knows that he can go find someone that's going to be just as good at the same position for less money. So the Patriots declined to use their franchise tag, and now J.C. Jackson is officially a free agent. That means any team can go out and decide to pick him up and sign him to whatever kind of deal he thinks he is worth. Minnesota started knocking, started calling. We need a corner, okay? And something's telling me we ain't going to get him out of Sauce Gardner, okay? I think a lot of teams are about to get him. You fucking, let's go, folks, okay? Let's figure it out. We need a corner. There's obviously other teams out there that need cornerback help. Cleveland Browns could be a very real possibility for J.C. Jackson. The Pittsburgh Steelers could be one. So there are obviously teams out there willing to probably go make a move for J.C. Jackson, but just know he is a free agent. In other news, before we end this show, Chargers have reached an agreement. They didn't have to use their franchise tag because they reached an agreement with star wide receiver Mike Williams on a contract extension in which is worth a 3-year deal, $60 million, which he gets $40 million of that guaranteed. Obviously, incentives will play a part in that. If you go to a Pro Bowl, you get a set amount of money. If you go to the playoffs, you get a set amount of money. If you have so many yards, so many catches, so many touchdowns, you get a set amount of money. You get more money put onto that contract. He's also going to be making $28 million in just year 1. And that's huge. That's big, big news. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that obviously it's supposed to be $20 million a year, but it was supposed to be like his 5th year option if they could franchise tag him, or he could choose to go to free agency and stuff like that. So he still has money on the line for this year. So I think that kind of gets added on to this new contract. So $28 million in the first year. The Chargers lock up Mike Williams, and the Chargers could be a very, very good team. Well, hold on. We're going to hold the horse on that. They could be a good team. I don't think they're going to be a very good team. I think they're a playoff caliber team. I think they're playoff ready. But we all know that the Chargers are kind of one of those teams that they're kind of like the Minnesota Vikings, right? I mean, they have all this noise about them, all this spunk about them. They look really good on paper. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, their defense, Joey Bosa, Derwin James. I mean, the list goes on. They have everything it takes to be a playoff caliber team, to be a Super Bowl caliber team. But ultimately, when it gets down to the nitty gritty, they say, yeah, not going to happen. We're just going to we're going to take a break. Okay. We could have tied that week 17. Both of us been in the playoffs, but that's just not what we want to do. We don't even want to win the game. We're just going to lose it, and then we're out of town. Chargers, what might happen. So with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on either one of them, hit the like and share on Facebook. Hit the subscribe on YouTube. It'd be much, much appreciated. We might be, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, okay? So we'll see you then. Be safe outside. Enjoy the nice weather. Spring is upon us, folks, and I'm pumped about it. Have a great one. Stay safe, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Deuces.